Many people assume a degree is the only pathway to a career in engineering, but that is not true. You do not need a traditional university degree for you to curve your way into the engineering field. In the UK, employers value skills, hands-on experience, and relevant certifications. Now, I am going to cover how you can leverage alternative qualifications, experience, as well as build a strong portfolio for yourself to make yourself stand out in the engineering field without a traditional university degree. Sounds good to you? I know it does. Now, if you are new here, I am Tino and welcome to my channel. Firstly, let's talk about qualifications. Instead of a degree, you can pursue several recognized certifications and courses. For example, number one, City and Guilds. City and Guilds is highly regarded in the UK, and the qualifications that they offer cover practical skills needed in the industry. So if you can get yourself a City and Guilds qualification, you're surely on your way to becoming an engineer. The second type of qualification that you can get that is not a degree is either a BTEC, an HNC or HND course. So HND for Higher National Diploma and HNC for Higher National Certificate. So if you can get a BTEC, HNC or HND course, then you can be on your way to becoming an engineer. Now, HNC, HND, BTEC courses provide technical education and real-world skills. And which employer does not want a person with real-world experience? Now, I can speak for myself. If I was ever to become an employer, nobody. So if you have this kind of hands-on experience, you will be favorable in front of employment, in front of recruitment boards, and you can actually be guaranteed of making your way to becoming an engineer in the UK based off of just your experience as well as hands-on training. The third way in which you can attain a qualification without having to go through the traditional degree route is through online courses and boot camps. Platforms like Udemy and Coursera can offer specialized trainings as well as local colleges. So they can offer specialized trainings in areas such as computer-aided design, electrical design, renewable energy systems, just to mention but a few. So depending on what kind of an engineer you're hoping to become, go online, go do online courses, go through online boot camps, go to your local colleges and figure out which programs or which qualifications they offer. If that tickles your fancy, take it up, and then you can be sure that those skills that you get, those qualifications that you get from those platforms will be enough for you to present in front of employers when you apply for your next engineering role. Investing in these qualifications not only builds on your technical skills, but it also shows that you're willing to go the extra mile and you are committed to your own continuous learning and personal development. And I believe most employers would be inclined to hire you just because you're a person who is willing to learn. Step is relevant experience. I am going to give you a list of effective strategies that you can employ in order for you to gain the required experience for you to be able to work as an engineer in the UK. First up, we have apprenticeships. Oh yes, I love that because I also became an engineer through an apprenticeship. I was an apprentice for 4 years, so I can tell you as proof and living experience that you can become an engineer through apprenticeships. Many UK companies offer apprenticeship programs to individuals and people, and the good thing about UK apprenticeships is that they're not age restricted. I'm from Zimbabwe, and when I enrolled in an apprenticeship program, there was an age cap. So depending on where you are in the world, just Google and find out what is the age cap on enrolling in an apprenticeship program. I remember back when I did it, I think the age cap was 22 or 23. I'm not too sure, but just depending on where you are in the world, research and find out the age cap and any other relevant requirements that might apply to your situation and your country. But one sure way of gaining experience to work in the engineering field as an engineer is by going through an apprenticeship. And the good thing about going through an apprenticeship is you don't have to use your money because you're actually earning while you learn. So it's another pathway for people who don't want to go to university like you, because you're watching me, and also just another way of gaining experience without actually having to employ too much or apply too much of yourself. So this would be a good way for you to gain experience in the engineering field. The second way in which you can gain relevant experience is through internships as well as volunteering activities. So companies offer internships and you can try and apply for those that way, especially in engineering companies. So apply for engineering internships and then work towards gaining the relevant experience. While you do an internship, make sure you ask as much as you can so that you can get as much information and you can be exposed to as many situations. So when you finish your internship, you have adequate skill, adequate experience for you to take on roles individually as an engineer. Another thing, like I said, is volunteering experiences. Choose to volunteer even in your communities. Choose to volunteer even to other engineering firms if they don't offer apprenticeships or internships. Just go there, volunteer, because at the end of the day, you have a goal in mind. You want to become an engineer. So go volunteer, do projects, work on projects. If you have another company, in your neighborhood or some projects going on in your community, volunteer to take part in those things, because all that experience builds up to make your CV and your portfolio big enough for you to actually point and say, okay, I did A, B, C, D, so I have the relevant experience to work as an engineer. The third way in which you can gain experience is through freelancing or contracting. Now, I know I will speak on examples that I actually know about. So for example, if you're training or you've done an apprenticeship in Zimbabwe, upon completion of your, say, apprenticeship in electrical power, you are an electrician. So you are a qualified electrician, but your hope is to become an electrical engineer. Use your skills as an electrician to contract work, to look for work as an electrician, but building up to become an engineer, an electrical engineer. So the same thing could apply to any field of engineering that you are in. If you have a certain skill, maybe you are a builder or you're a plumber or you are something, but you're working towards maybe becoming construction engineer. Use your skill as a plumber, use your skill as a builder, and contract work, freelance. Build up your CV, build up your portfolio with actual examples of work you've done, and that will just mount up and give you enough proof and enough relevance and enough experience to show that you have done A, B, C, D work, and you can actually then become an engineer based off of your experience. The fourth way in which you can attain the relevant experience needed to work as an engineer is to do a lot of personal projects. So if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're a builder, embark on a lot of DIY projects and document your work. You could even, the good thing about these days or technology is you can document your work online in video form. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, which I believe you should have, so on your LinkedIn profile, make sure you show your DIY projects as a builder, as a plumber, as an electrician. And when a recruiter now reaches out for an engineering role, you can still apply for it because there is that proof that you've done A, B, C, D, and that builds up on your experience. That you've built up on the experience as well as the qualifications that are needed, it's time to showcase your work. The best way in which you can do this is by having a well-structured portfolio or a well-structured CV. Now, this is the part where I talk about an amazing package that I have just come up with. So I've come up with a pack that has everything you may need when you're applying for a new job, whether you're just straight out of high school looking for a CV to get into an apprenticeship, or you just graduated and you're starting a new career, or you're transitioning from your current career into a new one, or you have 5 years plus of experience and you want to move into another role. You have that in one pack together with cover letters, a whole lot of LinkedIn personalization stuff, and I will link this in the description below. So just click the link, go to the site, grab yourself that copy, and you'll be on your way to getting an amazing result. That is the role that you actually want. For your portfolio, you want to create a website or use platforms like LinkedIn, which is why I'm always saying you definitely need to have a LinkedIn account. So use a website or LinkedIn to display your projects, certifications, and your hands-on work experience. Include details like project objectives, challenges that you encountered, the skills that you used to solve these kind of challenges, and the lessons that you learned along the way during the projects that you would have. For your CV, you need to focus on your technical skills, your certifications, and practical experience. Make sure you tailor your CV to match each and every role that you're going to be applying for. So don't go about recycling CVs, because that is not going to work. You are just going to be setting yourself up for disappointment and automatic rejections. Make sure your CV highlights the technical skills that you have, the objectives that you were working towards in each and every experience you were building up on, as well as quantifying the achievements that you had or you produced. So this will make sure that, or will ensure that, recruiters look at you, look at your portfolio, look at your CV, and they can actually then hire you because you have evidence of the work that you've done and you can actually fulfill an engineering role. Finally, let's cover how we are going to ensure you get your foot in the door. The first thing that you want to do is networking. I cannot stress this enough. Network is your net worth, right? So the people you spend the most time with or you associate with will result in whatever outcome you're hoping to achieve. Like I always say, you can't be associating with people that are not going to benefit you or at least aid in your growth professionally. So use platforms like LinkedIn to network with people in your field, in this case engineering, but depending on what kind of engineering you're doing. So network with recruiters, with CEOs, with other people, so that you always know what is in the industry at the moment, and you also are kept in the loop on the kind of jobs or jobs in general that are going around, and also the skill set that recruiters might be looking at the moment. The second thing that you want to do is look at job boards and company websites. So I got my job from a company website, so I can safely say you go on a company website, look at the jobs that they have advertised and apply. Or you can use job boards like LinkedIn is another job board. You can use Indeed, you can use Glassdoor, so many different job boards, total jobs that you can use to look for jobs, and make sure you tailor your CV to match each and every role, because nowadays recruiters use ATS. So if you want to ensure that your CV actually reaches a person, make sure your CV is ATS friendly. If you're not sure what an ATS friendly CV looks like, click the link in the description where you'll be directed to a whole job hunting pack that I created that will ensure that you get those recruiters' attentions and you land your next role. The third thing that you want to do is go to recruitment agencies. On this one, I will say do your due diligence, because there are a lot of scammers out there. So just make sure you are going to the right places and going to the right people and looking out for the red flags. But they are genuine recruitment agencies. So look at recruitment agencies, send out your CV, tell them what you're looking for. And I know when an offer or when a job comes along, they will definitely reach out to you. However, like I said, look out for scammers, because there are a lot of those out there. So just make sure those people are actually legit. And then the fourth thing that you want to do is focus on tailored applications. So different roles have different names, And similar roles have different names in different parts of the world. Similar roles also have different names in the same parts of the world, but in different companies. So an electrical engineer, maybe who specializes in assembling, can be called just maybe a fitter in one place. They can just be called maybe an electrical assemblyman in another place, or they can be called a panel wirer in another place. So just familiarize yourself with the differences in names, and then structure your CV in a way that suits those kind of differences. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think I am. So for each and every different role, try and tailor your application to just match that. Don't have one CV that says Tino substation engineer and then you send it out all the time. Have Tino substation engineer for a substation engineering role, Tino electrical fitter for an electrical fitter role, and then make sure your objectives, your skills, as well as your experience suit that role, and you change and change and change. Now, these strategies will help you reach employers, they'll help you reach recruiters, and they'll also help you show what value you bring to the table, regardless of whether you have a traditional degree or not. What is important nowadays and what recruiters are looking for, employers are looking for nowadays, are people who give results, people who have enough experience, people who have world experience to show that they can actually do the job. So that is what you need to focus on. Have the experience and start applying for jobs. I believe if you've watched this whole video to this point, you have a clear roadmap on the steps and the ways that you can get an engineering role without a degree, because I have given you a whole roadmap on how you can get to that point without an engineering degree. The most important thing in the UK that is worth remembering if you're going to apply for an engineering role is building on the right skills, building on your experience, building on your qualifications, and showcasing all that in an effective way to show the recruiters that you have what it takes to work in an engineering role. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful and useful to you. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if it was effective and it helped you in any way, and I will see you in the next video. But if you feel like staying for a little while, then watch this video here where I talk about the type of ECS cards that are in the UK if you're looking to work in the electrical industry in the UK. And there's a playlist right here on how you can work in the UK as an engineer with overseas qualifications. I will see you in the next video.